On today's episode of That Mental Ginger Show, we welcome Karen Gibb from Mind Marvels. This is the type of podcast interview I've been needing for quite a while. Many of you know that I've been struggling lately and I've needed something to kind of just get that out and get the positive mental health back in my own head. Karen was a delight to talk to. We talked about one of my favorite foods in the entire world. Any regular listeners will know what that is. And we're also raising awareness about how to promote positive mental health in children. And that's something that everybody knows that I'm passionate about. So let's cut to the intro.
All right, troops.
Karen, a pleasure to meet you. How are you getting on?
I'm great. I'm good. The sun is shining. It's absolutely Baltic outside. What else could we wish for, Andrew?
Yep. For my international audiences, Baltic means it's cold in Scottish.
Freezing. Absolutely freezing. Don't let that Scottish sun deceive you.
Yeah. It is very weird, isn't it? Because I don't know about you, like when I'm driving, and the sun's out, and because it's still frosty, like it's the glare that just really gets you. And you're like, it always seems to be the sun's at the bit where your visor can't come down and block it.
Yeah. Do you know, it was really funny. I was driving the other night with my partner and I pulled it. You know, you can pull the visor out of the hinge if you like, and move it across. He was like, I never knew you could do that. And I'm like, but you do that when the sun's in the window next to you, and you just pull it. So, for any listeners out there who maybe don't know that is their purpose.
Yep. That's good, because that's one of the things that I never realized until about 2 years ago, when I was trying to just get the sun out of my kid's face, and I'm like, did I do it? And my wife was like, you can just that's why you're the better sex. Here we go.
Absolutely. Mind blown. There you go. Learn a new thing every day.
Yep, every day is a school day. So, Karen, what I like to do is I like to start by getting the guests to tell us their origin story, because the one thing we all have in common is that we all have an origins. So, Karen, for my faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Oh, how long have you got, and where do you want me to start?
We'll start with the basics. Where were you born?
The basics. I was born in Bothwell in South Lanarkshire, which is just outside Glasgow for your international listeners. But my parents liked to move around a lot, which was kind of annoying, but only within like a 15-mile radius, which was always a bit odd. So growing up, I went to 3 different primary schools and then eventually 1 secondary school. So I think just growing up, like moving around all the time, you had different friends, you would go to new schools. It was a big deal every time. Yeah. But actually, I think that's been such a catalyst for where I am today in terms of my resilience and my ability to bounce back from difficult situations. Yeah. So growing up, always wanted to be a teacher. That was it. Just, I'm going to be a teacher and that's it. So I trained to be a modern studies teacher, which is a bit like modern politics to people that might not be aware. It's not actually a topic even taught in England. It's very Scottish, modern studies.
Yeah. See, it's a very niche subject.
Very niche, very niche.
Yeah. So, it was always one that I don't know about for you guys, but when our modern studies teachers, there was always some sort of drama going on with them. There was always something. Like, we found out that 2 of them were having an affair. We found out that one of them and then one of them was so stressed by the job he had a heart attack. We're like, if that's what modern studies does to you, I'm out.
Do you know, I think maybe because history is something that if you learn about William Wallace, it's so far back that actually it doesn't seem relatable, whilst I would suggest modern studies is usually topics in the last 10 years, so you're still kind of feeling those feelings around or remembering those events taking place. So maybe that was a catalyst for a lot of your modern studies teachers' antics.
Maybe. Well, because I didn't take modern. Well, I did take modern studies actually, like for my 3rd and 4th year, and my 5th year as well. And I instantly regretted it because I was really good at history.
Yeah.
Like top grades. And I was like, why didn't I take history? Because it's literally a cheat sheet.
It is.
Everything that you need to know is in a book.
Yeah,
What?
that's true.
So, because we were only just when I was at high school, we were only just starting with the internet, so there wasn't. Well, by the time you would have wanted to find a cheat sheet, it would have took about 3 hours. So I was like, it's
And
all there. It's all in the book. What? So what? If you're ever wanting
absolutely.
a subject that people thought that drama was a skive, no, it wasn't. What history? What they give you? Literally give you the answers. Go for it.
That's true, that's true. But with modern studies, I mean, not that
Mm,
I would ever condone cheating, but you could
mm,
always sort of add in a case study that might not have been completely true, or shall we say selective of the facts.
yeah. Do you think now with modern studies, you know how because there's the whole there's been the whole fake news kind of thing that's went around for a while. What do you think that's maybe like the trump card, quite literally, of modern studies, because it's like everything. What? Okay, is this definitely true? They go, oh, it must be. Wikipedia said so.
That's true.
Uh,
I never thought because it's only meant to be the last 10 years, I have to say,
mm,
some schools I've been in, they still teach 9/11, and I'm like, look, I remember that happening, but that wasn't actually 10 years ago. Like, we
yeah.
have moved on. There's been plenty more controversial and awful things that have happened in society
Mm,
ever since.
yeah, it just seems to be like a case of how long have you got with how crap the world has went in the last like 22 years.
Yeah, and instead of us going, maybe war isn't the answer, we've kind of just accelerated into wars that aren't even
Yeah,
anything to do with us.
yeah. We just went blow things up more.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, absolutely, and will not
Mm,
help the people in these countries. But if they happen to have white skin at a later date, then of course we'll open the borders. So,
mm.
it's the government is very controversial.
Very, very interesting as well. What I've got to say is like, because what when you were at like school and that did the gingers get bullied?
Yes, there was the
Thank
Fanta.
you.
I'll fill in. You can fill in the second word for me. Do you remember what they
Yeah,
were called? Yeah, you know.
yep, yep. Well,
But do you
I
know
actually
what?
had a bet going for about
Oh
15
no.
years now. It was if they had any ginger joke that I had not heard, I would give them a fiver. And it lasted up until my videographer a couple of weeks ago said a ginger joke to me and I hadn't heard it, and I went, I'll transfer you the money for the business account. You win. That's a good one. I'll take it.
Absolutely. Well, I had a beautiful friend who read hair at school, so we weren't quite. Although we would give name call and just kind of give each other banter,
Yeah,
because she was really beautiful. It was quite annoying because you couldn't really
yeah,
take the Mickey out of her.
yeah. I always found that the red-headed women got what all the ones going, exotic for
Absolutely.
Airdrie. What and then what with the ginger guys it was beat him up. We don't like him.
Oh, and
What I was like, sexist much?
exactly. And isn't there like a National Gingers Day now as well?
Yes. What there's been like there's been Ginger Day, there's been Hug a Ginger, there's been Kick a Ginger.
Oh,
What yeah,
harsh.
that started in Newcastle of all places.
Oh,
What
wow.
someone set up a group to try and get a national Kick a Ginger Day. It gained 8,000 followers in 24 hours.
Oh my goodness, so
So it just
harsh.
shows you like ginger is a form of racism. It's as
Abs-
far as I'm concerned. But
Well,
yeah,
you've had to endure it. See, I don't
yeah,
know. As a brunette myself, I've not had to endure so
yeah.
much. But yeah, so did modern studies for a couple of
Mm.
years, and then I went traveling when I was in my 20s for 4 years. So I lived in like Canada and Australia, and kind of went around Asia and just did like the backpacking life of dreams, basically,
Wow.
which pretty cool. But then I came back and trying to get into teaching job and someone tell me what to do and trying to fit me into what society deemed was a good teacher.
Mm.
Didn't work out so well, Andrew.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could believe that or not.
I think it might have something to do with the kind of creative mindset as well. Like, because I'm very much like, I've tried out like the day jobs since I was like 17, and at this moment of recording, I'm 35. What, what, and it's the definition of insanity. I would go into a job, I would work well for a while, and then something would happen. My confidence would get knocked, mental
Mhm.
breakdown, off with stress, back, either like let go or find another job, repeat cycle. So
Yeah,
that was like the definition of insanity for me. What and
absolutely.
I
Yeah, we people that do it every day, you know?
yeah, I think it's the very much the rage against the machine mindset. I've got the F you, I won't do what you tell me
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Imagine screaming that at your boss. How therapeutic would that be?
Oh man, that's how I got a lot of stuff out, like in the early 2000s, like when I went to what a local rock club called Sneakies, and they played that, and we were just screaming it and screaming it, and I'm like, I want to say this to my boss, but I need money to keep doing this.
Did you go to the cat house when you were in the unders? Did you ever go to
uh
them?
I went to the cat house in the unders once. I
Okay.
performed in the cat house when I was old enough to perform in there, when I was in a band at the time.
Amazing.
Obviously been in the other ones as well, but yeah, Cat House was certainly wild. But what over our
Oh.
neck of the woods we had Sneakies, and I thought, well, at least that is a 10-minute walk and about a 45-minute stagger.
Is this Airdrie then? Is this in
Yeah,
Airdrie?
yeah.
Right.
I'm an Airdrie boy, and then grew up, and then moved over to Coatbridge with the wife
I'm
and
so
had my
sorry
wee
for your
kiddies.
loss.
I know it's been a trauma. What and the worst part? We moved to Coatbridge, and I was like, yes, I'm near a Pizza Hut, and and then they shut it. It's now a
No,
Greg's. I'm
go.
raging.
Oh, I know. Is that in the retail park? Isn't
Aye.
it? Right, I know where you are. I
Well, it
used to
literally
so
looked like a hut.
yes. Yeah, I know exactly where you
Yeah.
are.
Now it's a
Oh,
hut of
again,
Greg's.
that's devastating. I mean, I don't know which is worse, Airdrie or Coatbridge.
It's certainly got its points. Well, because we always used to look at Coatbridge and be like, you've got a Pizza Hut that you can sit in. You're lucky gets. And then they would look at us and went, but you've got a Morrison's.
Well, now I'm in Carluke and we're just about to
Ah.
get a Domino's, which is like
Oh,
so exciting because my nearest Domino's is Hamilton or Motherwell. So
yeah.
I feel that we've actually gone up in the world, believe it or not.
Yeah. That was the only saving grace for me because where Coatbridge, it's Shaw Head, just near where the flyover is.
Right,
What
right.
and after they shut the Pizza Hut, I was distraught. I'm like, because pizza is my qualification to be a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, so you Pizza
So
Hut
I
over
was like,
Domino's?
yeah,
Oh,
well, I was, and then they opened the
oh,
Domino's like on the Showhead flyover,
right.
and it was like life was saved. I was like, I'm no traveling to Hamilton for a Hawaiian.
Brilliant. And I'm going to judge you for this. Stuffed crust or
Yes,
not? Yes, I'm a stuffed crust as well. Yep, yep.
yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. Well,
Absolutely.
if I can get a stuffed crust fair enough, and that's where Pizza Hut excels over Domino's. Their stuffed crusts aren't as good, but their overall Domino's pizza content, I think, like the way they change things
Right.
up and how they go about it, I think's better. So I think toppings wise they're there, but actual,
Mhm.
bases and crusts and stuff like that, Pizza Hut's got the edge. But then well, that's actually quite an interesting pun. Got the edge, and
Oh,
it's
that,
round.
yeah. Oh, remember the Edge pizzas they used to have?
Yes.
Oh, that was so weird.
Oh man, finally someone that speaks my language. Someone that gets it.
I never understood them though, I have to say. Like,
I never did either. Like, one of the advantages I did have, like, when I was kind of in between jobs before leaving my day job and starting up this, I did a wee bit of the kind of affiliate marketing, like survey stuff.
yeah.
And one of the ones that I got offered to do was pizza tasting for a company. Oh, I
Oh,
was like a pig in It was amazing. Oh man, I
that'd be so good.
was so happy. And it was the fact that it came in this big, like, dry ice box, and there was like four of them. And they said, like, you've
Oh,
got to eat them within 3 days. And I went, I can eat these within 3 hours.
yeah, that's no
This is
challenge.
eat. I was like, then I looked at the size of them and I was like, hmm, okay. I might need to split one of these with a wife.
Might.
Yeah. Well, I did. I split one out of four.
Okay, I'll let you off. So that's actually where we're talking about is where I sort of left my teaching career.
Hmm.
I worked in sort of social work and in behavioural schools, and I say that loosely.
Yeah. I worked in
For
social work as well. I understand.
right,
What
okay,
I was with the NHS and they were in partnership with social work. So that's how
right.
I kind of wound
Ah,
up with it. It was what kind of side was it for you? For me, it was care of the elderly.
So it was teaching. So it was
Aha.
teaching. It was teaching kind of kids that couldn't go into mainstream or didn't
All
want to
right.
engage in mainstream. So
Ah, that's brilliant.
actually, it was really good. I enjoyed that because it was tiny classrooms and it was quite casual. But
Mhm.
again, I just couldn't see a career in teaching like all my days.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where Mind Marvels came into play, which is my business.
Yep. So tell us a bit about it.
Brilliant. So we work with children from nursery or kindy, as other countries might say,
Hmm.
up to the end of primary school on their emotional well-being. So I call it calming superpowers for young people. And they really just learn a little bit about their brain, about their breathing, about positive affirmations, gratitude, mindfulness, relaxation. So we give them the tools so they can kind of help themselves to self-regulate with their
Yeah.
emotions. So that's what we do. We work kind of mostly in schools and nurseries, but we do run a few things in the community. But we have just franchised the business. I don't know if you know much about franchises, because I know I
No.
didn't until I franchised
Yeah.
myself.
I know them basically in the sense of like the entertainment side,
Or
like your,
pizza,
yep,
Domino's and Pizza Hut are
yep,
franchise.
yep, definitely. Well, see,
McDonald's.
this is what I always needed for someone like, with me was to speak to me in my language.
Speak to
Uh,
you in pizza.
yeah. Or just speak to me like, I always say speak to me like you would my kids. Like my twin boys are 4. What and
Wow.
whenever they get like, things explained to them, I'm like, why can't people explain that to me in that way? I'm maybe
Ah.
35, but I have problems with sometimes understanding things. Communicate to me like you would a toddler. Then we're
Ah.
all good. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what I do as well, because I try not to overcomplicate things. The brain is so complicated. There's so many things we can learn about the human body, right? But I just keep it
Mhm.
really simple. And I say there's 3 animals inside the brain, and one is the meerkat, which is a fight, flight, or freeze response of your brain. And
Yeah.
that's all kids need to know. That's all adults need to know. Why do we overcomplicate things and really? But what I was thinking there was you could have had like a pizza currency, so people
Yeah.
could have spoke to you in the price of pizzas.
That would work. That would probably help me with,
See?
the accounting side of like my businesses.
Ah,
You'd be like,
so
so
you
so you're
owe
charging this, right? See your beginner's guide. That's like getting like a 10-inch. And then
absolutely.
you're growing. That's the 12-inch.
So 32 large stuffed crust pizzas with 2 toppings is the equivalent of your accountancy fees this year. You
There
see?
we That's pretty much it. Well, but then I got a quote for it, and it's going to be a lot more than that. I would say it's about 48 of those pieces.
Wow, there we go. Well, you must be earning lots of money, Andrew, so that's not too
No,
bad
I'm
then.
not. Like, so I'm really screwed.
But
Oh
that's
wow.
with mental health, don't you feel that we do really overcomplicate things? And
Yes.
when it comes to franchising, I just say to people, it's like owning your own business in a box. So
Mhm.
they own a part of what I have, but they have their own postcode area, they have their own business, they run self-employed. So
Yeah.
that we can help more kids across the UK as well, which is win-win.
Yeah, definitely. That's absolutely fantastic. So, how many is like are you planning on opening? What's the start process for your franchising?
So we've literally just finished doing the legals. There's loads of legality around it, really, which would cost you a lot of pizzas, probably 100 stuffed crust pizzas,
Wow.
at least. So it's very expensive. But
Yeah.
what this ensures is that like our brand, our trademark, our logo, everything's covered, and also that franchisees are protected as well as me as a franchisor, that I'm protected as well.
Hmm.
But we've just started, so we've essentially got one franchisee in the making just now, which is really exciting. But we'd hope to have, the sky's the limit, but a good,
Yeah.
I would love to get 10 really good franchisees in the UK as opposed to 60 mediocre. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like quality over quantity, I'd say.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And especially when it comes to like a mental health side of it, we all know that if you put too much out there, that's the stress of the mental health. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
if they go, wait, there's so many around here. How did I decide where they go? Right. And I just go, well, so there's your Dominoes and Shawhead. And then there's your Dominoes and Curlook. There's your choices. That kind of way. So it'll be the same deal. It'll be like you've got your centre here and you've got your centre there.
Yeah, yeah, and you know you're going to get the same pizza more or less in those locations, you know, and it's going to be hopefully top quality pizza. So the same with Mind Marvels, you know, you're going to
I have no doubt it will be quality pizza that you will provide. No doubt.
Thank you.
Yep. It's so
I
nice to
love
have
it.
someone that gets me. It's
I
brilliant.
love this pizza chat. I'm actually feeling quite hungry now.
Yeah, but I was quite glad that I ate just before I came on because I would have been like, oh no. Worst part was like my wife's not been well lately. She's got had a bad chest infection, so I've been looking after the kids. And what when they go on their tablets and stuff, I occasionally get bits and pieces of work done. And all I seen was adverts for Domino's because they brought out at the time of this recording the new like Christmas pizza. And I'm like,
Right.
I have no money, but I am
What is
so
the
craving
Christmas
right now.
pizza?
Basically, it's turkey, cranberry sauce, like bits of sausage
Wow.
and bacon, all this kind of stuff. I had it last year, and
Right.
it was good. It's one of those ones that you could have it once, and then that would be it because I think they add like I don't know if they still do it now, but they have the stuffing on it as well.
All
So that
right.
kind of makes it a bit more like a bit heavier. Eh,
Yeah, yeah. I
but
don't
it's
know how to
still good.
think about it.
For best to try it.
Right, okay. It's a bit like when you see those Christmas sandwiches, isn't it, in the supermarket, and you
Yeah,
think, oh, that's going to be really good. I never really think it is that good though. It's always a bit underwhelming for me.
yeah. It's like I always like make sure I have it once to say that I have had it, and then I can
Yeah,
go,
uh-huh.
then go. It wasn't good as last year,
No,
even
no.
though nothing
And
will have
pigs
changed.
and blankets.
Oh, pigs and blankets. Oh ho ho. Like we're on one of the best conversations that I have had on this podcast. Pigs and blankets, man. Well, I'm so glad that Tesco sell them all year round now.
No way, do they?
Yep, yep. So
Oh,
occasionally I'll just go and I'll see them. I'll be like, you know what? Get them. Because my wife works a back shift, so she's in usually about 8ish. If I'm not doing any recordings at night, I'm like, right, I'll get them, 10
uh-huh.
each, some potatoes and some veg. Brilliant dinner, absolutely banging. Tesco, you've saved my marriage.
So they must be in the frozen aisle then. Are they in?
Definitely, yep, in the
Right.
frozen aisle.
Okay,
But
okay.
they've brought out like a new one at this time of this recording that it's got like a wee kind of apple glaze on them.
Oh, that's a bit
But
upper class, isn't it?
yeah, just stick with what you know. I
I
tried
know.
them. I got them because I thought, well, Alison's not well. The boys like kind of like I call it the daddy daycare thing. Rules are a little bit looser. And they were just wanting sausages, and I was like, I've got pigs and blankets in the freezer. Brought them
Hmm.
out. They had them. They liked them. I had them, and I was like, don't mess with the original recipe. I can
Yeah.
understand why because we're trying to take obviously the salt out of it. But
Oh.
you have them, and you're like,
Hmm.
but I was like, don't mess with the original.
That's brilliant. I always just feel like at Christmas you need to eat as many pigs and blankets as you possibly can. Like
Yes.
it's like almost like a competition, isn't it?
It was a
Just
competition in my house usually between I never wanted to make it one, but my brother would always want to make it one.
right, okay.
And most of the time he would lose.
See, with like Tesco, I'm an Aldi or a Lidl girl because I just
Hey,
can't quite justify the prices of Tesco, you know?
I'll only go because I've got the club card.
Yeah, but I
So
feel that's a bit of a ruse as well, you
aye.
know.
Yeah. Well, you know yourself from being like a businesswoman yourself. You've got to have the kind of what to get them in. It's the give and take. You come to
Yeah.
our shop and then later on down the line we give you money, what and vouchers so you can get money
Uh-huh.
off. What and then they're doing all
Come
the like
back to our shop.
yeah, and they do like the club card prices as well. So if you've got your club card, prices go down. What
Yeah.
one of the good tricks that I found around that was when I was getting served, there was a guy in front of me and he'd got some stuff, but he'd forgot his club card and he was getting
Uh-huh.
things that were on the prices, and he was like quite upset. And I was like, mate, I've got my card here. Why don't you put it through? It's like because I'll get your points and you get the discount. He was
Oh,
like,
that's a
and he was like, you sure? And I'm like, aye,
aye, no
no,
brainer.
yeah. So what? And like the staff were like, that was really nice, and I'm like, it's a win-win.
Oh, it is. That is a great, you've got a good business mindset there. That's excellent.
Tell that to my lawyer and my accountant. Yeah.
Excellent.
With the franchising, like, when will that like officially start? Like, because you've went through the legalities and stuff. So when's the kind of like the
Yeah,
announcement?
so Well, it's all been announced. So it's all on my social media just now. We do a franchise Friday where we kind of encourage people to sign up to our mailing list, and then they receive information about it. So that's all happened, and I've got like a email funnel where they receive, you know, a bunch of emails and can learn more. So that's all in motion now, and we're hoping to get the first training of the first franchisee in next month, which is January 2023, which is like absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Isn't
Definitely.
it? Sounds so space age, like we should be flying around in cars in the sky.
Yeah. They promised us that and since the 70s and they've not delivered.
Yeah, absolutely. What was
that? Just
that?
shows you the lack of faith I have.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's we are in the process, but like everything, change is really scary, and getting people on board, it's a big leap of faith, but I'm there like 100% of the time to push, you know, to encourage people and to push them into the unknown, you know, willingly, of course. But it's really about support and encouragement. You know, I know this model works. So it's like, how do we get more people in to support more children as well? So it's quite exciting. And you know, America and Australia are huge on franchising. Like they're really big, especially on children's franchises. So all I'll say is the next 5 to 10 years, watch this space. You never know.
Brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. And I wish you nothing but success, especially because you're helping, like, you know, with kids' mental health as well. Like, you know, I had a lot of like mental health problems as a kid, but growing up in the 90s, it was just you're a big Jesse, or
it was like man up, wasn't it?
Man Up, or one of the ones I always got was Shut It, You're Gay, and I was like, I'm gonna go out and pull more women than you are this year.
Absolutely.
Like, because they were all like, you do acting and singing, that's gay, and I'm like, right, so what do you guys do? Oh, we play football. So you're around a park with 20 other guys in shorts, whereas I'm cutting about on stage with about 15 lassies who all love me because I can hold a tune.
I love this. This is amazing. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It was
brilliant.
all things I never got when I was younger. Like because I was so self-conscious, and like I said, I did have mental health issues, but it just wasn't acknowledged at the time. Like, so having some, and now that I'm a dad, I do worry about, like, you know, my boys, and like, I want them to have positive mental health. I want them to, you know, not be
Talking
like
about their
afraid to come
feelings.
to me, talk about their feelings, definitely.
And
Like
it's like,
when I go and pick them up from nursery, like, and if they've been like crying or whatever, and they're letting them hear like, no crying from the nursery staff, and I'm like, no, they can cry.
oh, wait.
Let them cry. What? Because I cry. What?
Yeah,
And I'm not ashamed of it. What? I would rather cry than punch something. Because it doesn't hurt as much.
exactly. And sometimes it can just be the smallest thing, like to us that they're crying about, but to them
Yeah.
it's so huge, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that's really good to have that sort of patience and awareness, because I think as humans we want people just for like, it makes us uncomfortable when people are upset. So it's like, oh, don't
Mm-hmm.
cry, but you don't really mean it. It just seems like a
Mm.
logical thing to say, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the things that what I kind of notice, like, if you're saying to them, my kids anyway, I can't claim to be the knowledge of all kids, because if that was the case, I would be one person. But when it's my boys, like, if you're saying to them, oh, don't cry, they seem to cry more. Whereas when
Yeah,
I say to them, I just say to them, or reverse, I go, okay, let it all out. Just let it all out, get all your feelings out. And they calm down quicker.
yeah.
I always find that I'm like, did I just find a life hack here?
Yeah, do you know, I think it goes against what we were brought up like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being called like awkward Annie by my parents, and you know, attention seeking, and you know, they loved me
Yeah,
and they want the best for me, but it just wasn't acknowledged in the same way. The patience
yeah,
was very thin for some parents.
yeah. I think sometimes when it comes to mental health, they've got to go through it to really understand it.
Yeah,
Like my dad was always kind of one, like, he was, you know, physical guy, like played, was good at football, like, he's painter decorator.
yeah,
He never really understood when I wasn't like coping kind of mental health wise, and then
yeah.
he wound up off ill because he had a trapped nerve in his neck. All the pain went to his back, so he was
Oh,
struggling, not being able to
yeah,
kind of be active. So when he was struggling, I was like, right, I know where you are. I know how to get you out of this. Let's do it. And now I'm more likely to talk to my dad about my feelings now than my mum because he's been through it.
Yeah.
So it makes me feel a bit more at ease where I can, if my dad says, look, what's up? And I'm more likely to tell him, look, I'm feeling like this today. What? So it makes me feel so much better as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know what to say, but it's a bit like grief when when someone, you know, when there's a bereavement and we have to go and speak to the person that's lost somebody. I think we always go, oh God, what am I going to say? Or I'm worried I'll say the wrong thing. And my reaction is always, I don't actually know what to say to you right now, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. And that's something that we can say to people that are, you know, maybe have some mental illness or are suffering as well, you know, and we don't know what to deal with. Just be honest. I don't know what to say, but...
Well, that does lead me into the final question for the podcast. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Do you know, I have the same answer every time someone asks me this, but I'm going to stick with it because I still really like it and it works for me. So for me, it would be to think to yourself, my thoughts are not facts. What I'm thinking isn't factual, it's just an opinion. Because often we get so inside our own heads, don't we, that we think, oh, they must be talking about me or I'm doing this wrong. And actually, that's just an opinion. So just remember, your thoughts are not facts.
Brilliant. Brilliant advice. Well, and
Hope
actually
that helps.
from someone who knows rather than just a mental ginger guy.
Well, who knows? Who knows? The jury's out on me, but all I can do is just try and help, you know, one step at a time. And so if we can support children when they're young, then we, you know, hopefully when they get to our age, they've got those tools and strategies to help them move along in life.
So where can anybody that's watching, where can they find you, like socials wise and stuff? Sell it.
Oh, sell it. Okay, really easy. So we are just Mind Marvels on all social media platforms. Our franchise website is mindmarvelsfranchise.com and our normal website, would you believe, it is mindmarvels.com. Come hang out, come join us on socials. We post loads of stuff free of charge, and you can pick up some tips and tricks to help you with feeling calm and supporting your children as well.
Absolutely fantastic. I will definitely need to take you up on that.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew, for having me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's been great. That's a lot of people when they come on at first are like, oh, I'm quite nervous and maybe I've never done a podcast before or whatever. And I'm like, well, in fairness, I don't do podcasts like most people do. They're all like,
no.
What, we've got a form and we've got this, we've got that. And I'm like, I'll ask you 2 questions. The rest of it, I'm nuts. This just works.
The rest of it, we'll just talk about pizza and currencies and pizza, and that's okay as well. But no, you put me at ease. You're a natural professional at this.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And yep, I've been really needing some good pizza talk. This has helped.
Awesome. I'm away to order a pizza now. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, at the time of this recording, it is 2 for Tuesday from Domino's.
Of course. Da, da, da.
Yeah. And when this goes out, it will be on a Tuesday. So there we go. It's still valid.
Even better.
Yep. So until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durnan. This has been the brilliant Karen Gibb of Mind Marvels. Please give her a follow on the socials. Check them out. If not for yourself, and for your kids' mental health.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Best way to get people to plug it, emotional blackmail.
I love
it. So until next time, take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.